Once organizations start experimenting with AI, another question rises, and that is, do we have the right talent to scale this?
And I think the key to this is that it has to be a combination of existing staff and bringing in external expertise.
Welcome to the AI and the Executive Table, the podcast where AI meets real-world decisions. I am Kenza.
And I'm Amanda. And we aim to go beyond the hype and really have a thoughtful lens on the opportunities and challenges of AI.
In this episode, we're talking about the next step of transformation, how to make it real with people. Amanda, let's start with another leadership question. And that is, how do organizations know when is the right time to bring in external talent?
Really good question. I think it can be when AI is integrated into a strategy, but it is not operational. I think it can be when leadership may be misaligned and not singing from the same hymn sheet. And I think it can also be when governance is not clear and there are areas where there can be sometimes obstructions. So I think this is a really good time to bring in external expertise that can help demystify, simplify, work through some of the processes and work out where blockages potentially are.
And I think the easiest way to do so is just by asking the right questions, because what usually happens is, especially with governance, so you start experimenting everywhere and you have teams trying different things, and then the chaos starts. And then you have someone coming from outside and they're asking those why questions. Why is this like this? Yes. Who does this? Why is it that? And that brings that complexity up, I think. And is this so in your experience?
Yeah, I think so. Because look, most organizations are already using AI in some form. Basic level chat, Copilot and other chat engines. But I think the key thing is when you start actually developing solutions and they're being done in a disparate fashion across the organization, but you're not learning the lessons, this is absolutely almost redundant. And what you need to do is have some way of bringing together those lessons. Unfortunately, going externally is one way of being able to get that. Of course, there's a cost, but I think it does bring a neutrality into the conversation, which organizations need sometimes.
I mean, what we see now is a lot of hiring of those chief AI officer or head of AI. And sometimes I ask myself whether that's like, we're looking for a hero to solve all our problems. Yeah. What is your perspective?
So you mean like that unicorn kind of AI person? Well, I just don't think they exist, because if you think about it, you're asking someone to be a scientist, an ethicist, an operational kind of executor as well. There's just too many, and there's the cultural ones. There's just too many dimensions for one person to do it all. So I don't think the unicorn exists, but I think it is a combination of existing staff, particularly those who've already deployed AI in certain aspects of their roles, and also bringing in expertise that can help scale, share, and further improve.
Mm-hmm. So maybe the first challenge is to have that expectation management done right. I guess there's a lot of expectation from if someone is coming from the outside to be the champion or the hero, let's say. Oh, yeah. But you're talking about the right mixture.
Yes.
So the good workforce that you have already, plus that external insight. How do we make that happen?
Yeah. Well, I think so. Firstly, to pick up on your point about the hero coming in, Can you imagine the pressure on that person's shoulders when
Yes.
you know the pressure, right? Everything gets dumped onto your inbox. Can you deal with this? That goes over there. And I think this is a more important question about ownership, because AI is not owned by one department, one person, or even a team. Everyone has to start the journey, and everyone has to start believing that their input and their interest in this topic is going to help the organization further. So I think that's the first thing. But I think the organization also needs to assess what it currently has, where are the domains of expertise, and where additional help can help further the activity. Does that answer your question?
It does, but we need to dig deeper here because in my experience, one of the biggest challenges is having an established culture.
Yeah.
It is a working system.
Yes.
And then putting someone basically disturbing that harmony.
Yes.
So what is the recipe to enable these new team constellations and to make it work?
So I think to integrate, it can only be successful if you do a few things. I think there needs to be a very clear mandate, what the new individual or team needs to do. So making sure that's clear. I think having a strong leadership sponsorship from the top is also very important, and a wide articulation that we need everyone working together as one. Something simple like pairing up new and existing leaders together so they can learn from each other, almost that integration, onboarding. And I think lastly, a kind of continual check-in on how the processes are going, how progress is being made. And I think one of my experiences, I know of an AI expert in London that's come into an organization. There has to be a step back to say, let's think about how I can integrate my skills in the organization as opposed to the other way around, where there is just a complete expectation that they will change everything. And we know that even if you did have this amazing unicorn, the system, the organization takes time to absorb change.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can totally relate to that, having those expectations and everything on your table and
Yes.
fix it.
Yes.
And basically, when you come from the outside, you can't be successful if the existing workforce is not collaborating with you, right?
Yes.
So you need them, you need to learn about that new culture very quickly,
Yes.
about the processes, and especially about the unwritten things.
Oh, yes.
Every organization creates its own culture, right?
Yeah.
And you have those habits
Yes.
that are not documented anywhere.
Yeah.
And this makes it's an onboarding time. And that pairing idea I actually love. And I had like a pair or a peer, a buddy. Yeah, I think this was the right wording. When I joined IBM, and that was really helpful actually, because that was a person who was, I think, at least 20 years at IBM. So he knew the people, he had the network, and he helped me get up to speed. So I can.
It's
I can
really
only
important. I
stress
mean,
that,
even basics like acronyms. I mean, every organization is acronym full on, and you go in and you're absolutely don't know, and everyone's speaking in normal language with acronyms. So I think it's small things like this. So the buddying process is still really relevant for today. Mostly invented by the way by US big corporates like the IBMs of this world and GEs. But I still think it's a great mechanism to have in for new high domain expertise experts coming into an organization.
And I mean, the higher you go on the hierarchy, the less time you have for your onboarding.
Absolutely.
So it's basically, usually we talk about the first 100 days.
Yes.
It's the time you have to get some orientation in a new organization, but usually it's even less.
I think with AI, you've probably got 10 days.
It's like use AI to figure out to navigate this chaos, and if it doesn't work, it's your problem.
Yes.
No. let's go back to serious.
Yes,
Yeah, I think
we must.
the pressure is definitely there.
Yeah.
So having that into consideration and putting really time and resources to help that onboarding
Yeah.
and to help the new talent, usually expensive, hard to get, it takes long. You have to convince the people to join you, and then you have to make sure that they stay. So it's a new challenge, I think.
No, and I really like what you just said, because I think there's something been lost since, let's say, pre-COVID years, where we onboard great talent who've been very successful in their jobs, and we just expect them to land, and we expect them to be able to day one be up and running. Now, some people are, some people aren't. But then I think there's also a concerted effort that the system, the organization needs to do to make that individual successful. There seems to be a lot of land, tuck and roll, as opposed to let's help that individual and let's really get them up to speed, because it's a vested interest when you go externally and hire talent which is scarce and also relatively competitively expensive. So I think those are important things that we need to do when we look externally.
And I mean, that brings another piece into the whole strategy again, because usually people who are there already, the workforce, they're busy.
Yep,
They're running.
that's right.
So you have to take time to spend or to invest in that onboarding to get the new talent up and running as quickly as possible. And it doesn't just happen like this. It needs to be planned. There need to be resources put into that. And maybe use those formats that we talked about last time, like hackathons or AI weeks or whatever the format you're using to introduce that external talent, to meet with everybody, to work across silos and experience the culture.
And it works both ways, because I've actually seen bringing in, not AI, but I've seen real technical experts coming into organizations, siloing themselves in a way, having their own units, their own teams, not integrating with existing teams, and employees complaining and saying, well, we don't know what they're doing, we're not part of it, it's a little, let's say ivory tower over there. So I think it has to work both ways, where there is a compromise and a coming together in a shared mission. And you're only going to get that shared mission and vision from the top.
Okay, so again, it is a leadership
100%.
decision, and it is a leadership a topic or conversation. Yeah. The right timing to get external expertise is when you are starting to scale.
Yes.
So you are above the experimentation.
Yeah.
You feel maybe there is no more progress. The limitations of your domain expertise start to surface.
Leadership can be misaligned in
misalignment,
or governance,
Governance. Okay, so those are the signs. Then you get that hero. Hopefully, it's not a hero that you expect. You get that help, that external expertise. You set the right expectations, right?
And create the right culture, hopefully, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the culture is really decisive. And I'm wondering, is having the right culture the only thing to retain the heroes, the AI heroes?
No, it's got to be more than that. Like any valuable talent, there has to be a sticky environment to keep them. So I think the first thing is, we've talked about having the clear mandate, but there needs to be real runway for that individual. So if you're going to bring a team in or an individual to help assist with domain expertise, there has to be the mandate, but also the allowance for them to experiment, and a very clear avocation from the top that that is something that they are allowed to do. And then I think there also has to be a clear career path on where they will go next as well, because otherwise they'll be coming in and it would just be a revolving door. So I think that's pretty important as well.
I mean, the clear career path you need to have for the existing workforce as
For
well.
everyone,
So I guess it's not new. I'm just thinking if the external talents have also higher expectations in terms of career path than the existing workforce. What's your experience on that?
My experience has been that when you bring in real experts, if they find the environment is not adapting or adopting at the pace that they're used to, there is a revolving door effect. And that's why it's extremely important to set expectations at the beginning and be very clear as you bring hires in with the speed, the adoption level, and also some of the constraints that are going to be there. Because whenever you start bringing in a new external hire and giving a rosy story of you'll be able to do everything you want here, we know that's not correct. And even if your supervisory board or your CEO and your C-suite all say, this is what we want you to do, if the system is not ready for it, as we both know, Kenza, it is a very hard uphill struggle.
But I guess that is also challenging because you want to tell a nice story for people to join you, and at the same time you need to keep realistic about the situation they will experience when they come in, so that they're not the motivation goes down too quickly.
But I think it's a good point. Yes, you've got to do a sell, but at the same time you've also got to be honest, because the cost of getting external talent who then leave, and then the opportunity lost and opportunity cost of that is just not worth it. And I think it also is unfair to the external talent, it's unfair to the internal organization, and it doesn't really, benefit either party.
I hate to say this, but this sounds a lot like this is a business case, right? So you gotta get it right.
You've got to get it right, 100%. Yeah.
Thank you, Amanda. It's really a great perspective. So if a leader is listening today, what is the one thing they should take out of this conversation, except the business case parts? Talking people and business case, the combination is too bad. So one positive thing.
Don't hire AI talent unless you're ready for the organization to change and adapt. Great AI talent won't stay if you don't give them the runway.
So all in all, technology evolves quickly, but the right teams adapt.
100%. So before we close, I should mention this is my last episode co-hosting this fabulous podcast. I've really enjoyed having the conversations around culture, skills, people, and of course, organizations. And I just really wanted to thank you, Kenza. Really loved having the dialogue.
So thank you, Amanda, for helping start this journey. Sometimes the starts are the hardest ones. Your insights, perspectives, expertise really made this really special. So thanks for being part of it. And I hope we can collaborate in the future again. Thank you for listening to this first season. In the next one, we will be focusing on governance, compliance, and risk management. So also other leadership topics. So stay tuned.